Now that you have added evidence from each of your sources, you can start to explain how each chunk of source information helps to answer the question. So remember, you typed your question at the very beginning of your notes. My question was, how have scientific theories about race played a role in the perpetuation of racism? So, what I should be explaining each time is how the information I'm talking about, how whatever theory I'm talking about, helped to keep racism going. So, you want to look at what you wrote in the I say part of your notes about why the information mattered and how it helped to answer the question. And then you just kind of want to refine those ideas and the way that you're expressing them. If you need help with how to start your explanations, you can go ahead and look at the notes for effectively using evidence in your research writing. And there are several different sentence starters for how you might start to explain your information. So I ended up using, I think, a variation of this one for my first explanation. But you can really use any of these that fits. The important thing is that you're not forcing something, or you're choosing appropriate ones that make sense in the context of what you're trying to say about the information and the information that you have. So I'm going to go over to my document here, and I'm just going to select the text in that placeholder that I made, and I'm going to go ahead and type my explanation here. So I ended up with, this shows that philosophers tried to establish a scientific basis for enslaving Black people. The idea that Black people were of a lower status helped to justify choosing the race to become slaves. However, it is, however, problematic in that it states that Blacks will become white in cooler climates because Blacks enslaved in cooler climates never transformed into white people. So there's a couple things I want to point out about this explanation, or really one big thing I want to point out about this explanation. If we look at how much evidence I have and we count the lines of evidence, I have one, two, and a partial line. So let's call that 2.5. When I look at how much explanation I have one, two, three, and then this top and bottom one add together to make four. So 4 is more than 2.5. That means that I have more of my own thoughts about the information than I have information from a source. You need to make sure that your thoughts about the information are outweighing the amount of information that you're using for your sources. And so your explanations of your evidence need to be longer than your paraphrase of your evidence. So just kind of pay attention to that when you're doing that. So the next thing you would do is you would come down here and you would select your next placeholder for explanations, and you would put an explanation in for that piece of evidence, and then follow with your third. And if you do that, you should have it met or exceeded the 250 word length requirement. If I check my length, even with just only having one explanation in right now, I should be pretty close. See, I'm at 245. So very clearly, I'm going to exceed that 250 word count that you have to have minimum for this assignment. So once you've done that and you've explained how each source helps to answer your question, you are finished with this journal entry. And then you will just kind of repeat all of these steps for the next journal entry that we do. until you have a journal entry for each of the 5 sections. At that point, then, you can move on to the final step, which is creating your works cited. And you'll have to see that in the next video.